Okay, restart that. Hello, it's AD on YouTube. What it is? I'm watching myself on the playback with no audio. Okay, restart that. Yep, here we go. Audio's on. So, hello, all out testing. What's up, man? How's it going? How's it going? I was on the phone last couple days with a friend of mine that lives in Texas, and we were talking about just catching up on life. He's out in Arizona now. He bought a house out there. He's doing his doctorates in psychology. But he's a great guy, man. In fact, one of the best people I've ever known. We met in college years ago. What is this? I'm watching a YouTube channel and oh, okay, I'll check that out later. But yeah, so what's up, man? What's up, Mo? Happy New Year's, man. Happy New Year's. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hope you're doing all right. I hope everything's all right out there in the West Side. West Side, like Cartman used to do. West Side. But yeah, man. Yeah, I was on the phone with a friend of mine. He's got to do 1,600 hours, man. That motherfucker has to do 1,600 hours. I said, that's crazy. Um, because I only have to keep up with like I think 600 hours or something like that. For being a clinical mental health counselor, but he's in the doctorate program right now. But even that, like he's got to keep like when you do these fields, like you always got to hit some time where you have to do hours to stay, I guess legit. And it's getting to the point where I'm just starting it. I just don't care anymore much about it. I'm gonna do a little bit of hours coming up here, but just to stay in good standing with the military kind of thing. But I just don't care anymore. I really don't. Because we were talking, he's hooking up with some girl out in the Philippines and shit. And and when it comes to international shit, man, that whole licensing issue is just when you get on international shit like this, man. It's unless you're like solely devoted for a field like this shit, it just gets too tiring to keep up and monitor, and it's just like fuck it, like I just have education so I could just sell that part of me. I'm just not keeping up with again if somebody was just like solely into like they just wanted to do XYZ, then I can understand, but like a dude like me with a pretty varied background, and I can, I could, but if I had to go out there and do something, I can bounce in and out of different fields. Like the licensure thing for me I just don't care. Well, I can't even be licensed in Europe anyway. This is just for North America, which I don't live in. And then laws with that state that you can't even do it like through because for a while they had telehealth. Telehealth was a big thing throughout COVID. So telehealth, but throughout the times of COVID, when telehealth was a big thing, like that was a rare, like something that just doesn't happen, where you can see like all your legitimate like formal clients like through video chat. Like that's something that is never done unless like the person's just homebound or something like that, which is very rare. Like usually they all can come in. So that was a very rare time. So that whole telehealth time is just over. Like for the most, it's just over. Nobody's fucking with it anymore. Like it was throughout COVID. And professions like mine, with people in my position, that shit's just it's just a waste of time. What's up, vibing with Run? Happy New Year. Your topics on what keeps certain cultures struggling because the mentality of comfort compared to countries that force themselves to struggle are always very interesting. Oh yeah, yeah. Like yeah, with with countries that like I said, I always say, man, like America suffers from synthetic suffering, and I think America suffers from synthetic suffering from watching what happens in other parts of the world and in other parts of history. Like for example, I want to say it was some area in it was back in them Aztec days, and there was a society noted in their time period where it was some tribe of people, some group of people. It was a decent group. It was a decent. I want to say it was after the Aztecs. Um, but what happened in their community was everybody became the highly sought after successful worker, and there was nobody to actually grow food and shit like that. And that's how their society crumbled from the political side of it, right? Because they all thought like, well, we shouldn't have to fucking grow food, like because we became a lawyer, relatively speaking, like a lawyer and all this shit. So we don't, so if too many people become that's also caused for society to fall, historically speaking, right? So yeah, so when it comes to the U.S., man, at this point, like nobody can really argue one that the U.S. is essentially rookie of the year in terms of rookie of human civilization. I would say that in terms of becoming that strong, that powerful, that quick, and that united and that massive, like all that, like nobody else could get that shit like that. Nobody else throughout history was able to get that. When you factor in all that, being able to protect themselves, having that massive area of land that's truly united with the same mentality that we all speak one language, blah blah blah, blah one form of currency. That the timing of North America definitely worked out to where like no historian can deny that North America is the rookie of the human century, right? For doing that. Now, how things work is, the faster things are built, that means they're going to fall just as quickly in many cases. So I'm not going to act like America's going to be around forever and all that. It's got its day too. Um, but America, like I said, America learned from all the other countries, like what a good chance of what to do and what not to do and how it could play out, kind of thing. Because again, you can never directly compare what this people do and what that people do, because two different groups of people will just perceive things in different ways. So you can never truly say, okay, like if this happened in Russia or Europe, this exact same outcome will happen in North America. Like you get a general overview of just human interactions, but when it boils down to it, like you may get a whole different, growth out of that, right? But yeah. But yeah, back to the self-inflicted pain. Yeah, America's pain is self-inflicted for sure, and it has to stay there, in my opinion. It has to stay there. In my opinion, I don't think, because actually that was what me and that was what me and my friend was talking about, the one in psychology, because we always get on topics of politics, and he's voted for Trump and all that. He's always been a hardcore Republican since I first met him, right? And he knows my exact views. He knows, but we're cool. Like we know, like we can just disagree and still become, and be completely cool after that. Like like we just yell at each other, whatever the fuck, and then there's just nothing. You throw the politics off to the side, and for me, like a hard thing for me to understand is how, like, I guess in modern day, I think after Trump, I think really kind of brought this along, where especially in the U.S., it got to the point where people fuck around getting fights over that shit now, right? Like over politics and shit. People take that shit like hardcore, to their core kind of thing. Whereas pretty much before Trump, that really wasn't a thing. From what I've been able to observe, that a lot of that came after Trump. Because and I'm not trying to blame Trump, and take it down that road, but just from a strictly, time frame kind of thing, like that violence for what you believe in for a political reason in North America, that essentially came after Trump. Right. But again, my friend, he was for Trump from the beginning. I remember sitting we were sitting in his attic that was like converted. And I was strumming a guitar, and he was doing something on the computer, and I was explaining my reasons why I would not vote for Trump. And I told him I'd never voted for Barack Obama either time he voted, because I would have only voted for him because he wasn't white. That would have been the only reason why I would have voted for him, which is just as equally dumb as a reason for somebody to vote for somebody just because they're white, right? So I just could not bring myself to vote for him. And at that time I was, working. I had no time to really pay attention to, politics. This, it was, my ignorance intertwined with, moving. So like, I knew nothing about Barack Obama. Other than he wasn't white, and he was clearly visibly not white. That was the only thing that I knew about Barack Obama. I didn't know anything else, so I never voted for him both times. Um, but yeah, and I still say the same thing now. That I say the same thing now that I said sitting on his couch while I was playing. He had a classical guitar, because for those of you who play guitar, the strings are further apart on a classical guitar. And I said the same. I still say the same thing now. The reason why I don't think Donald Trump will make a good president is because he'll fuck around and say something like, when he fucks around and says something like, they're not, like, the Mexicans, they aren't bringing their best people. Once you start phrasing things as they in a leader position, and I'm sorry, in a position of leadership, that immediately starts like severe divides. There's a great small film called, I think it's called Don't Be a Sucker or something like that. I think it's, hang on, be Don't Be a Sucker. It was yeah, this is it right here. I would highly recommend. We could probably watch it here. How long is it? But Don't Be a Sucker was an excellent. It's about, I'm not going. It's like 20 minutes long, so I'm not going to watch it. But this is an old video. The Don't Be a Sucker was an excellent, excellent, excellent film about what happens when you start to use the word they, right, as a leader. In a sense, in context, when you start to use the word they. So I would highly recommend you watch. I'm pretty sure this is it, because that old dude, he says, like, just a minute ago you were like totally agreeing with him, and now you don't agree with him. But I would highly recommend, don't watch this. Don't Be a Sucker. If in your spare time or something like that, I would highly recommend it. But I said the same thing back then. I said Trump, the way he speaks, he's gonna have people going out and bombing Spanish churches, Mexican churches, doing shit like that. And when you ask the guy, well, why'd you do it? He's gonna reply, well, Trump said it was okay. See, Trump, blah blah blah, right? And not only that, what ended up happening was they ended up storming that fucking, what was that building that they stormed? His followers stormed it because when Trump didn't win, they went up in that fucking office and fucking stormed that shit and like broke shit, and people somebody ended up shooting a gun, like they was scared behind a wall and had to shoot the Trump supporters. And so he essentially ended up developing a cult, right? By definition, I think he reached like pretty much every area of being a cult. He was more of a cult leader than anything else. Now, I'm not saying he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about on political shit. And that was never my argument. My argument of why I thought Trump should never be president is because he's not used to being monitored in his speech as a leader. He was used to just coming up on his name and all that shit and doing whatever he wanted to do when nobody was watching. He wasn't used to being on camera, right, in a leadership position for a country. That's a whole nother ball game, right? It's a whole nother ball game. Because if Donald Trump didn't like whatever an employee said, he could just fire him, right? But a government leader, you can't just do that anymore, right? And you're going to be getting constant trouble about it. It's going to be, which is what happened to him. He was in constant issues. It was constant trouble. And then when those guys stormed whatever building they did, all that did was seal the fate that, and I said it back then, that was the dumbest thing that they could have done, because now, okay, well, who was that they stormed that shit? Hang on. Stormed, was it some government? Some U.S. Capitol. Yeah, this shit, right? And I showed my spouse this shit because she had no idea this even happened. This shit, right? They walked up in there and went all crazy and shit. That was the dumbest fucking thing they could have ever done. That was the stupidest. Now, 200 years ago, that shit would have worked. maybe even 100 years ago, that shit would have worked. But in this day and age, this is the dumbest fucking thing you could have done. Right? Like I said, 100 years ago, this shit could have worked. Right? I would say even 50 years ago, it could have possibly worked. Right? But now with internet and media, and everybody can see and hear and know it. Okay, if they were to ever let Trump, okay, I've always said this. If, let's say by midnight that night, whatever official was in charge of what they were fighting over, let's say it was like, oh wow, they were right. Trump actually did win. We fucked up. Let's say like 15 minutes after they did this, and motherfuckers went and dug through the paperwork and said, oh shit, yeah, they are right. We fucked up, right? See, the fact that they did this would do nothing but tell the American people that it's okay to go up and start breaking government shit if you think that you know what I'm saying, if you think that somebody should have won or not, right? And the government would just fix it and put the winner in there, right? So you would have a lot more of this go on, right? It would just, if Trump had got his rightful position, let's say in this scenario where it works out, and he got his rightful position, that would have made like Americans, they would have been like, oh, now we can do that. So you mean, when Paul Ron runs and we want to Paul Ron run, now we can go up in there and start breaking shit, and it would start that flow, right? That was the dumbest fucking thing they could have done if they wanted Trump to win, right? But again, it's that thing. See, it's, in my opinion, it was everything that Trump was saying that and how it could have been perceived. What was my problem? To lead these motherfuckers think that was all right to do that shit. That was the dumbest thing. That was by far the most stupid thing you could have done. Right? By far. If you was trying to get to a point to get Donald Trump up in there, that was the dumbest thing. That was by far the dumbest thing you could have done in modern day technology. Again, 200 years ago, it would have worked. Right? 200 years ago, yeah, do it. 200 years ago, you run up on the head of General Mills with some pitchforks and fire and be like, yo, motherfucker, we want to raise, we going to burn your house down. Yeah, 200 years ago, you could have done, you and 15 buddies with pitchforks and fires, you could have probably fucked around and got that raise 200 years ago. Right? Right? But see, again, people learn and adapt. See, that's why nobody knows where, these people live anymore. They keep that shit quiet. It's in a gated community 10 miles away from the gate, so where nobody knows this motherfucker's at, because these motherfuckers learn and adapt, right? they grew. Because the first thing, if Jeff Bezos, if everybody knew where Jeff Bezos lived, that motherfucker would have death threats every 20 minutes. That motherfucker had to make a drone to kill motherfuckers that look like they might walk up to his front door. It just is what it is. And I'm not mad at Jeff Bezos. He fucked around and, hit the lottery with his life. Go for it. But it's just the reality. You got more than the other man has, right? It's that thing, right? But this was the dumbest thing. This was by far the most stupid thing they could have done. Like I said, 200 years ago, yeah, I can see it working. 150, 200 years ago, totally, yeah, definitely. Just walk up to that government office with some pitchforks and some fire, and all that shit. Yeah, you can get away with that back then, right? Today you can't. The motherfucker's stuck in comic book days, where Spider-Man can just swing up to his apartment. It was a little warm outside and take his fucking mask off and chill. Spider-Man can't do that in 2023, 2024. Right? It's cameras everywhere. Everybody gonna know that motherfucker. They motherfucker like, wait a minute, that's apartment 7C, block 3. That's Peter Parker. That shit don't work anymore. Batman can't drive a big ass tumbler down fucking Gotham. Motherfuckers chasing him, shooting at him. He trying to get away. You mean to tell me these motherfuckers can't find him? But here, hold on. I want to show you guys one scene. This always bothered me from Batman Begins. This was the dumbest shit. I always hated this scene. The first time I seen it, I hated this shit. It was... Like I think I talked about it a while, and I always hated. I always thought this was just horrible editing. Maybe it's gonna be here. It was when they were chasing him. When Batman was trying to get back to the Batcave. Yeah, and the shit, and he tries to go in stealth mode. Watch how shitty this shit looked. Like, how the fuck did you lose this motherfucker? Here it is right here. I should be all right because it looks like everybody's putting this motherfucker up, so I should be all right. Watch how pathetic. Like, I thought this was. They should have just left this part out, and it just lost it. This motherfucker turned off his. This motherfucker literally turns off his headlights. You're like, what? That motherfucker got stealth 100. STELL. STELF. That motherfucker hit stealth 100. That was the worst. From the first time I seen that scene, I hated that shit. That scene right there killed almost the whole movie for me. It was a mixture of that, and then when he ends up in the Batcave and he says some cheesy ass line like, if I did not act swiftly, your mind would have been lost, or some cheesy shit. You know what I mean? Like, I hated this shit, man. I hated this shit. This motherfucker turned his headlights off and you mean and shifted into neutral, and nobody could find this motherfucker. Like, get the fuck out of here. Watch this. Look at this shit. And we get Shimmity Christmas, where'd he go, Johnson? Like, what the? How did you miss that motherfucker? He's right there. I always hated that scene, man. I always hated that shit. From the first time I seen it, I said, this is horrible. But yeah, where we at? What's up, yo? What's up, Andre? Happy New Year, man. What's up, Tope? Happy New Year, man. I'm chilling. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing all right. Well, you won't find that on Google. It says America voted for your more traditional politician, Joe Biden, and they're on the brink of World War III. Inflation is not coming down, and crime and violence has increased in the country. You won't find that on Google, though. Yeah. So here's, okay, in my opinion, I think, okay, I'll say this, man. I think that it was inevitable. I think that this time period was going to be, well, it was already stated. Whenever they had a meeting, they would just flat out say, when they would come out like I forget what it's called, when they go on pause in the government, and they would come out with a meeting, they would just say, look, we got to start spending less money. There's no way out of this. In my opinion, I think this all was inevitable. I don't think politicians really had any way to really go about it. Okay, my take on politicians in government is that unless you take out an education or start taking like legitimate freedoms away, everything else is just on an inevitable issue, unless something just lucky starts, in some sense starts to happen, like other people fuck up and you can win off of that kind of thing. But when it comes to situations because crime is usually going to be synonymous with income levels. It's generally going to be synonymous with that. Income levels are going to be synonymous with typically development of the country, education levels of the country, shit like that. But now the bad part, the negative part about the negative part about people becoming more educated is that once they become more educated, well, they're more educated, right? And I always say this when it comes to countries, right? It's like, let's use North America for example. Well, any countries like this, you can always take more from the poor, right? You can go to the poorest of the poor, and you can always find a way to take more out of them, right? Because they're generally going to be uneducated. They're not going to have any focus. They're not going to have any resources, not even physical. I'm talking like mental resources to develop shit, create shit, because they're locked out of technology for one reason or another, right? So in any country you go to, you can always find a way to go to the poor people and figure out a way to take more from them. Whether if you lie to say you're going to give them a grant and you just keep all the money, or if they're working, you could just tax them more, whatever the fuck. You can always do that because the poor people literally do not have the means to fight back, right? For one reason or another. They're either illiterate, they're uneducated, they're working 80 hours a day, whatever the fuck. They're not going to have the proper means to fight back. But who does, right? who does have the means to fight back? It's going to be the middle to upper middle class. Because, see, these are going to be the educated people who know other educated people. And all you got to do is fuck around and push them. And you push them too hard, now you're going to have a problem. Because, see, those people are intelligent. They went to university. They have skills. On top of that, they had to go and get real skills that rich people's parents didn't have to get. Because rich people's parents don't have to learn skills because they already rich. Skills are for the poor, right? So who's learned all the skills? It's the people you've educated, right? Right. They educated, but they're still kicked out of the rich or the rich circles, right? See, those are the people you got to, because see, those are the people who are going to start learning tax evasion, hiding their money in other countries, ways to spy and get shit out the government, launch cyber attacks on banks. See, these are the people who's going to start doing that, right? Those are the people you don't want to fuck with out of all of it, right? Because that's going to be the far more majority of the people than just like the rich people who, you know, can live off of just interest on what they got in the bank type of shit, right? Like they can just live off literally just the interest. They can live off of that and have a good life, right? But it's the people who are stuck in the working. Those are the people you don't want to push because those working people, they're still dumb enough to fully believe in the system and that the system's going to take care of them and all that. But they also have skills, like legitimate skills to take down the country, especially nowadays with technology, right? Those are the people who know what to do. Those are the people who know exactly what bridge to go bomb, what bridge to go destroy, what dam to go destroy to fuck up entire other, you know. See, those are the people who are intelligent, right? And those are the intelligent individuals that's built the country. And in my opinion, that's the group you don't want to piss off. But even with that said, back to the original topic, when it comes to money, I think a lot of that is going to be inevitable due to the circumstances of how society, of the best way we know how to build societies, right? Um, so yeah, you're gonna have higher crime when money fucks up. Okay, either you let too many women in control, or too many people got intelligent and got in with the more intelligent groups, and they're gonna just keep all the money to themselves, right? And see, this is why unions. Okay, I'm just speaking like just in general history. Like the reason why unions ever became a thing from the first place. Unions were literally created to protect the rich from themselves, right? Because if they didn't create unions, the rich would literally just they would kill it themselves because they would just keep taking from the workers, right? Unions were the middle ground to essentially protect the rich from themselves from taking too much from the poor. Right. The union was there to ensure that the poor had good working conditions. They got better pay, better benefits, whatever the fuck, right? To keep the workers coming back to work, right? And the rich keeping their shares, whatever the fuck like that, right? So if it wasn't for the unions, for unionizing, a lot of that shit would be destroyed. Well, a lot of it would have been destroyed a long time ago. So long story short, the unions were essentially the unions were created to protect the rich from the rich, kind of thing, right? But then what happened is America tried to get away with they tried to do away with all the unions. They tried to do away with any sense of unionizing, which I think sped up the process, right? It sped up the process. Because population is gonna get bigger. You're gonna have inflation, and what happened? I think in the Roman Empire they would, if I remember correctly, Roman Empire, when they hit inflation, they would start cutting out coins and melting other coins. If I remember correctly, let me see, Empire inflation coins. If I remember correctly, they would, yeah. So like it was like with these nicks, if I remember correctly. So in these nicks, that was their way of like combating inflation. They would like cut out little corners of the coins to go and make other coins. But back then it was like strictly all about weight. So like that was their form of inflation. Nowadays we don't even do that. Like our money's just strictly numbers on a fucking web page. If I remember correctly, that's what the inflation was in the Roman Empire. Maybe I'm thinking about another one, but yeah, like these like direct like triangular cuts, that was intentional. If I remember again, I might be off, but yeah, so when populations rise, well, you got to get more gold or whatever is valuable. Um, But yeah. But back to the original topic, yeah, all of this, I really don't think it really mattered who really won or lost, and especially in North America, I don't think it really mattered who won or lost as president because the president even only can only go so far. I think it was just inevitable at the rate, and the thing, every country is either dealing with insurmountable debt without having to just flat out steal from somebody else. Everybody's country on earth right now is either suffering from insurmountable debt or or they can't protect themselves, so they have to pay somebody to protect them, right? And try to play like peace. Bull. I think Switzerland is one of those fucking. I hate those countries that do that shit, man. I'm pretty sure Switzerland. Does Switzerland have a? Let me see. I'm pretty sure it's one of those countries they don't have a military, and it's just so instead they try to play. Oh, we don't like war and all that shit. Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm pretty sure I don't think they had, or if they do, it's really low rated. So they do have a military, but it's nothing. Like they can't do anything with this shit. Here's the thing: if you lined up, uh, if you took a 500,000 soldiers with there with super soakers, Switzerland's fucking done. Just they can't do nothing. Just lined up a bunch of motherfuckers with super soakers and water balloons again, and they done. Ain't them motherfuckers ain't got that fighting spirit up in. They got to go pay somebody else to protect them. But yeah, but yeah, no, I think, in my opinion, I think, yeah, I think it was inevitable. I think the economy hitting this point, I think it was inevitable. I don't think there was really much that could have been done. And the other part that kind of hurt is in my opinion is the American. Okay, let's say as an American, we have a certain quality of life, right? And that quality, motherfuckers don't want to give up that quality of life either at all. They don't want to give that shit up. So, and that costs, right? So all these costs kind of developed, and when you add in the development of education, you can't keep beating up from the poor like you can in other countries, kind of thing. But the rich, they'll still find a way and sanction off to themselves. I think it was inevitable. I don't think that there was a magical way out with some magical leader. The only way out is you're gonna have to just is to come up with some cheap reason to go to war and steal some shit from somebody else. I don't see a way out of it. What's up, Jen? Like in 48 Laws of Power, it talks about using terms like that, like they, because it brings people on your team's side more united. Well, yeah, I agree. Vibing with Run, yeah. So yeah, it definitely works. It definitely works as morale for sure. It using terms like they, it definitely builds up morale within the people who can, for it. If they can, still come to their personal conclusion to side with you, then it definitely builds up morale with among that group of people because now it's like they, type of thing. So I agree with that for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, I just missed a lot. Yeah, you could have done something like reduce government spending. The reason why America is going through what is going through is because of the out of control government spending. So economists, there are some economists who would agree with you and some who would horrifically disagree with you. So when you talk about out of control government spending, um, when you talk about out of control government spending, there's other reasons why that will happen. When you talk about out of control government spending, I think that this can be classified as a form of counteracting austerity, even through just perceived austerity, if it's not even real austerity, right? So out of control spending can, okay, just like the saying, like fake it till you make it. I think fake it till you make it is a great way. Well, I've been drinking Jameson, so I hope I don't fuck this up. But I'm gonna own it. If I fuck it up, I'm gonna own it. But I think fake it till you make it is a great way of seeing the alternative to try to fight austerity, right? Because so actually, let's look up austerity just so make sure we're on the same page. I just spelled it wrong, but this is the one. This is the one you want to look at for in this context for austerity, which Greece is literally the figurehead for this shit in Europe. Difficult economic conditions created by the government measures to reduce public expenditure, right? But this can also trickle into other areas. But when you talk about austerity, okay, when you talk about wild spending, there's definitely more. Okay, I'm just gonna speak on my opinion. There's definitely more. There's more in terms of value than just than numbers in currency, right? There's morale, there's confidence in something, there's trustworthiness. All these things still play a part, right? So when it comes to wild government spending, I think it could be the equivalent as let's say, let's say like some influencer who goes out and buys a Lamborghini, right? I think nowadays people kind of caught on that that's what these guys were doing to try to look like they were, rich, so you would come and give them more money kind of thing. So I think that was kind of figured out. But countries will do this too. Countries will do this for many different reasons, not just for their own country's morale, but to build up morale with another country, right? Or to build better relations with somebody else who's been watched by somebody else, right? They'll do it for these reasons. So there's definitely okay. And I'm not saying that you're only seeing it from like one perspective because you easily could have. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just going on my personal rant, because I'm sitting in front of a fucking camera for 2 hours. But but when it comes to austerity, like you okay. So another example, like with me and my spouse, right? Me and my baby mama, right? We went out to the restaurant, and I got hit with that $120 bill for a steak in the restaurant, right? Now, 20-year-old me would have been like, okay, no Christmas presents or nothing, because this is your Christmas present right here, this $100 steak, right? Right. But the reality of it was, okay, she had nothing to do with that. I made that call, so I made a bad call. So I'll just eat. I'll theoretically speaking, I'll eat that cost, and you have to keep moving. So I bought her like some hair conditioner and some fucking white bitches buy them tea, lotions, and fucking white. Here's the thing: white bitches around the world love the same thing. They're the easiest group to buy for. All of them love white bitches. Love tea, lotion, and any kind of thing to do with their hair that comes from a reputable name brand, right? And white bitches around the world love that shit. Like you can't go wrong with tea and lotion. Right. So I still borrowed it. I still bought her some some goofy shit, right? Even though I was mad about it, she was mad about me spending that much money on it too. But I was mad about it too. But that would fuck up the morale. That okay. If I had responded to that steak expenditure as this is your Christmas present and New Year's Day and all that shit like that, that could potentially have an adverse effect on the steadiness of solidarity, for lack of better words, right? So even though I was mad about it, I think I only spent like $50 on all this shit, right? Because we in Czech Republic, man, it's not like super expensive. I think I spent like a random $50 on her, for the lotion and all that shit like that. And I made sure for her to know, like, that has that, even though that was a fucked up price for the steak, that has nothing to do with us. I made a bad call, right? But now what austerity would do is they would have been like, okay, no, I'm not buying you anything, no gifts, nothing like that. And all that really does is really set the people off a little bit, right? Like if taxes keep raising for you, right, on like to extraordinary levels kind of thing, like that's going to make like the last thing you want is the people to get really mad, right? Because see, money is valuable, but in the end, you really want okay, if you had to choose between people staying united and trusting you, or you had to choose between having a lot of money, right? You would rather the former two. You would rather keep the population happy and trusting you versus versus the people just knowing you got money saved up type of shit, right? Like you would rather in terms of a country, you would rather feel like you were comfortable, right? It's just a thing. Um, so when it comes to wild government spending, which I'm not saying that they don't do wild government spending, because I'm sure it happens. It has to happen in this context, right? It's going to have to happen at some point. I'm not saying, and I'll never say it. I would never disagree with that, but on the other side, I think it's done for reasons for other scenarios. Oh, you say dude hacked Amazon with a hotel. He tagged GTA with an Amazon stick and a hotel TV in his phone. Yeah, and this day and age, you're gonna have a lot more of that. You're gonna have with YouTube and internet, with more technology, the more people are becoming educated. We're gonna have a lot more of that. And that's where I was going on with Thomas Sowell last week, where he was trying to compare education from the 50s to now. And my standpoint is, I don't think you can properly. Yeah, I don't think it's just not even possible to directly correlate education from the 1950s to 2010, 20, 1990. I say 1990 maybe, but pretty much after the internet took off, smartphones happened. There's just no way to properly correlate that anymore, right? I think to try to correlate that would be like trying to say yeah, education on rifles like we had a better education on rifles in 1920. Well, it's 2024. Like, there you can't even compare the two. Or like Dave Ramsey trying to compare, finances and economics. Anything outside of basic arithmetic, and he's just another fucking idiot walking down the goddamn street. Don't spend more money than you have, right? And trying to use your history of working with finances in the 80s and 90s, that doesn't correlate to 2020 at all. Right. And I think education, if you were to give it any more than 10 seconds of thought, it wouldn't take anybody too long to see. Like, yeah, like you can't correlate education, I would say, from 1990 to 2023. There's just no, you can't there, outside of basic data of like graduation rates, retention rates, shit like that. Outside of these rates, like you cannot gauge where the population is anymore, because anybody who can get their hands on a smartphone has a potential of learning some shit, right? A quick YouTube video and they're off, right? Whereas 30 years ago it wasn't possible, right? So and I told, and me and my friend, I say his name is John, and because he actually likes Thomas Sowell, and I told him my opinion, and get this is the weird part, and I'll show him this video just so he doesn't feel like I'm talking shit about him. I'll show him this video, but because he's a white guy, he's Republican, blah 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 blah. He's a big white guy, right? Like he's a big white guy. You would think he would be like a racist or something like that, but he's not. I've known him for over a decade. He was the guy I stayed with in Texas. He was in Missouri City. Um, and he asked me if I ever heard. He pronounced his name Thomas Sowell. I said, yeah, I know who Thomas Sowell is. And I said, I think he's a horrible person. And I said the same thing on here. I think Thomas Sowell is great as long as he stays in his lane with economics and logistics. But when he talks about interpersonal dynamics, a drunk 13-year-old who's read chapter 1 of a sociology book would sit him on his ass. And I would never take that away, right? So then we continue in a conversation. Me and my friend John, because we were on a video chat in the kitchen, and we continue in the conversation, and then. And I told him, I said, look, white people only understand these topics if you substitute black and white for the caring of dogs or food, right? Then white people get it. And then it's like, oh yeah, it makes total sense now. But we use like black people do not get empathy. Like if you're not white, you do not get immediate empathy. You're immediately wrong for something. Right. I'm talking to my white friend about this, right? And so I said I have to put it in the context of dogs so you'll understand. Let's say if you raise a German Shepherd, right, and you keep the German Shepherd in noticeably suboptimal conditions, you treat it suboptimally, and every other German Shepherd, okay, 90% of the population that this German Shepherd will see is other German Shepherds being treated suboptimally, right? And not only that, that German Shepherd gives birth to its own German Shepherds, and then those habits from the parent German Shepherd gets passed on to the kid, and you keep doing it, right? How do you? And then all of a sudden, after 3 or 4 generations, you say, now go out there and be a normal German Shepherd. You're free, so we're all equal. What are you complaining about? Then it's like, and then he even said, "Oh yeah, I see what you're saying." And I say, "Yeah, see that conversation just right there would leave Thomas Sowell speechless. He couldn't even reply to that outside of going, "Oh well, who cares about history?" type shit, right? And I think Thomas Sowell is an awful person. Just a quick rant. I think Thomas Sowell is a terrible person who preys on white guilt and black people who think that who are Uncle Ruckus. I think that's who Thomas Sowell preys on because when I was speaking to John, I said, why does Thomas Sowell never talk about how Serbians are treated in Germany? Why does he never talk about how Czechs and Germans have issues? Why does he never talk about East and Western Europe and their conflicts and they're all white? Why is every time he talks down on somebody and there's no sense of empathy, it's always black people or brown people. It's never whites. It's never that. It's never that. Right. And like that interview I did last week, when the topic does switch to actually trying to question it, oh well, history doesn't matter now. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, like I think he's a fucking horrible human being. Again, I think he's been sucking too much white cock, and I think he preys on white guilt. And to be clear, a misplaced sense of white guilt. I think white guilt in today's day and age is a misplaced sense of white guilt, just like how Germans now have a sense of guilt and a sense of feeling like the world's judging them for what happened in World War II. It's a misplaced sense of guilt because they don't know how to really do what to do about it, right? Because a friend of mine, he's from Germany, and I flat out asked him, "Do you feel like the world judges you for this?" And he said, "Yeah." Immediately, it wasn't even didn't even pause. He just immediately replied, "Yes." He feels like the world judges all Germans for what happened in World War II. And it's a reality. It's fucked up, man. I don't wish him to feel like that. I don't hope he feels guilty. I don't want him to feel bad about himself. But it's a thing, right? It's there. And again, I think Thomas Sowell preys on that population of white people who don't who they know they had nothing to do with that time period, but they don't know how to feel about it and what to do about it. So it's just easier to go, oh yeah, black people just do it to themselves, or brown people just do it to themselves, and white people are just better, right? And I think his entire career is based off of that. And again, I'm speaking with my white friend who I've known for over 10 years on a video chat. He's living in Arizona right now. He moved from Texas to Arizona. He's bought because he showed me his backyard. He was outside smoking a cigar when we was talking. Most black people praise on white. Yeah, I'll say that too. Yeah, there's a good population. Yeah, yeah. So when I was in the conversation with my friend John, like, there's always going to be that black person who goes like, who say some shit like, "Free Eddie, he's in prison," but Eddie like robbed 3 banks and raped 14 children. Like, no, that motherfucker's a piece of shit. Like, you got to lock him up for that, right? So there's always going to be a population of the others who are going to try to like eat off that victim shit, right? That's going to be a thing too, and I want to make that clear. Like, not all black people are fucking great, right? Like, even if they had an equal opportunity, just like not all white people are great. It's totally a thing, right? So I'm definitely not trying to uh, send that message out. From my perspective, everybody's history is a piece of shit if you dig long enough into it. Like, everybody's going to be a piece of shit. You dig enough into it from different you dig enough into it, start looking from different perspectives. Everybody's gonna be a piece of shit at some point, right? You can't compare intelligence 30 years ago to now. 16-year-old has too much free knowledge with his phone. Old people are typically scared of technology. If you can't operate technology, you're behind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Comparing education systems from, okay. From what I remember, technology really started taking off about, was it 2024? I say technology really started to take off where it was like completely reliable. I mean, like, you knew you could just pull in go in your pocket and be like, and know something, right? I would say from living in Ohio, I think that happened around around 2000, because I started college in 2009 and it wasn't there yet. I mean, if you had a computer, but even then, like laptops were hard to come by for certain populations back then in Ohio. But I'm talking like to the point where technology had gotten to the point where you knew you could just reach in your pocket and within fucking 20 seconds, now you knew what you was looking for on a general level type of shit, right? Living in Ohio, I would say that was probably about 2015-ish was when that was like it became a more stable thing. So we've only had this change for about the last 10 years. Almost I say 10ish years, give or take, 2 to 3 years, I would say, right? Again, where because if you had a computer, you can do it. We had, relatively speaking, at the time, high speed internet, which was good, but it was still kind of like you. It wouldn't be shocking if somebody didn't have internet at home, kind of thing, in these years. But it didn't really get common until about, I say, 2015 ish, living in Ohio, and from where I was at. Um, so a lot of motherfuckers was still just like listening to motherfuckers, right? Like on the street because they couldn't Google it. They have Google in their back pocket, right? Now, because I got in a conversation with somebody on Facebook about this, because they were talking about education in America is going down, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I said, in that reply, I said, I don't think, okay, the only way that I think you can truly prove if education rate, if the quality of education goes down, is if technology comes to a halt, right? In that group of people. In this day and age, that's about the only way you'll be able to tell, right? Because anybody can go online and look up the Ohio Revised Code, a Louisiana Revised Code. Anybody can go on Google and go on any .gov website, whatever .edu website. You can read tons of papers that are scholarly, legitimate scholarly articles from Harvard, Yale, whatever. You can I'll tell you what you can do right now. We're gonna do this. Let's do Yale. Let's do humanities. I forget what's that called? I spelled it wrong. So look right here. You can go to Yale, look up their courses, right? So let's just look up this one. You can just go to Yale and look up what the fuck they're studying. No, see this was impossible 15 years ago. Right. And I'm not even looking at the right thing. What I'm looking for is, oh no, wait. What I want to look at is here. I want to find the syllabus. Courses. We can look up courses, view courses. Let's do this at Yale University. So, because what I'm gonna bet I could find is when I click on one of these, I'll be able to find the book. Let's look at Women Who Rule. This section is filled, history 056, blah, blah, blah. This course can be applied towards Yale Humanities and Writing. I mean, I really don't care what the course is. I just want to show you just how easy you can. Well, you can email the course instructor right there, Winston Hill. There you go. At Yale University. Right? If you want to, you can email the motherfucker. Oh, here we go. Syllabus. Here we go. Yeah. Well, let's continue. Well, if it's going to load up. It probably won't load up because I'm out the country. And they probably blocked it because I probably had to use a VPN. Yeah. If I was in the country, it would probably load up. But let's look at books. So, okay. So let's do this. Here we go. Courses. Well, let me go. Spring 2024. I don't know what this is. I guess it's biology. Let's do biology 101, section 01, retrieve materials. Let's see if it'll load up and show me. See, right there. Right here. Just like that, you know what they're studying in. Oh, well, it probably won't let me click on it. But just like that, you see the exact book that Yale is Yale is learning from right there. And that took less than 5 fucking minutes. So have anybody over the age of 35 tell you how can you compare education from fucking 2024 to fucking 1950? Have Thomas Sowell explain that shit. You see that shit was top secret information in the 50s. Motherfuckers didn't talk about that shit. You couldn't even find a motherfucker to talk about it. Oh, and here's I do you one better. This is what we gonna do right here. And watch it not work, but let's do this. I do you one better. Free PDF. If I can't find it, it's somewhere on the internet for free. I guarantee you that. Oh yeah, this is on subscription. But it's gonna be somewhere on the internet for free because it's an EDU website. It's gonna have some affiliation with .edu, so it's gonna be for free somewhere on this month. Oh, here, looks like I found it. There you go. There you go. That's what they're studying in Yale right there. In Yale biology. There you fucking go. So how the fuck can you compare education from fucking 1950 to now? I found that while drinking Jameson on a live stream. And that shit took less than 10 minutes. Think. See, this is what I beg people to do is think, just in reality. Just like that, I found you the book at Yale University from what they're studying from their biology textbook. Just like that. It's a .org website. It's a legitimate website. It's not some pirated website. You can choose to donate. You can't see it, but it's right there. It's right there. So my thing is, how can you you just can't compare this shit anymore. That's comparing education, comparing education, comparing finances, none of this shit. Like, again, if you're over the age of 35, you just cannot compare it with what the kids have access to nowadays, right? I'll be 38 next year, and I knew how to find that randomly while fucking tipsy, right? So what does a fucking 18-year-old, if he feels like doing it, what the fuck can he do? Who was born into the? Because I wasn't born into the internet. I wasn't born into this shit. I adopted it. So what the fuck can a kid who just graduated high school do with this shit? Right? I've always said, I think universities, I think they've had it coming for a long time. I think their days are numbered. Right? Why go to a university if you can just right there? Okay, let's try another one. Let's try, because we in 100 level courses. That's like entry level shit. Political theory, internet. Let's look up this one. You guys can see where I'm at. So let's do buy books. Oh, fuck, no, because I got to go. Okay, so it's not going to pull up the actual course for this. So I'm going to have to find, let's do, it's like a computer science maybe. I don't know I'm guessing. No, I don't know. I don't know what this is. This is gonna be economy, I'd guess. So let's do let's do a master's degree course, a 500 level course. Oh, okay. So this section's pending. Okay, so they must be switching books or something for next year. Let's do. Let's do English. Fuck it. Let's just go ahead and do English. They even got doctorate level courses in this motherfucker? Course 988? Professor, well, at least you can see the professor's name right there. But yeah, course material section selection pending. Yeah, so they probably like changing the books over to charge rape students for more money out this shit by just saying, yeah, edition 28, and they like literally just changed the font type of shit. But yeah, that's what I'm getting. Like yeah, I'm not trying to roast Yale. Universities is another inevitable situation. With countries just going broke. Actually, let's go. I think schools are just another inevitable. It's just another inevitable end. I don't think there's not much you can really do for it. It's just coming to an inevitable end. So let's do. Let's do state. I think I pulled this up a while back. So per capita, Hawaii was it household debt? Household debt per capita. This is from Forbes. Per capita, household debt is $82,000. Right. So that's going to count in people who bought houses. So I get that. Right. Government debt per capita, $13,000. And see, now this is the part I want people to focus on right here is per capita debt. Is because, see, even if you're not in debt, you're still paying off somebody else's debt. I told my girl this. Like, don't feel bad about like your country being poor or in debt or something. Like, look, everybody's in debt, right? But I want you to pay attention to this per capita. That's the important part. See, this per capita debt is what you need to look at and pay attention. But I say the government debt per capita. That's essentially speaking. If they want to get a debt every month, as far as I understand, is everybody in that state would have to pay off $20,000. And believe me, you are paying that $20,000 if you're in New York, Connecticut, and it goes down, of course. But you are paying this in taxes. Okay, just because you got a paid off house and a paid off car and all that shit, you're still paying off someone's debt. It's just not LaQuisha's debt. It's it's Ohio's debt, right? You're still paying this shit off. And I think these are just realities that the world just does. I think the world's just too afraid to talk about because everybody wants to feel like they're covered. G. Freddy says, but hey, I can go BS my way into a Yale University degree just as long as I don't talk about the J. I don't know what that means. The J. I don't know what that. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. I'm off. Oh yeah, your generation's lazy. Yeah, that shit's fucking annoying, man. That shit's annoying. And me and my dad would talk about it, and we just don't agree because he's kind of like he says like, people don't want to work now. So we finally talked about it like for real, and I sent him like links of data saying like real wages and how because I told my dad because it's just that it's just being older, man. Like you're always gonna see life from how you grew up, and I think very few individuals have that humbleness to kind of see like just the reality, right? The reality of outlook on life, the reality of values in life of a certain culture. I think very few people can truly get there because everybody's just kind of so busy looking out for themselves. Nobody really gives, the world thought, right? So I would tell my dad, and I'm not trying to roast him or anything, but I told him like, yeah, because I was talking about my cousins. I have some younger cousins, what are bigger than me, but they're younger than me. I said, yeah, like your generation had it easier than my generation, my son's generation, and my younger cousins' generations combined, right? Right. And so, we had a little argument about it. And I sent him like the actual real wages data. So back in the 70s, when you measure up minimum wage to actual price of rent, it was like just a little bit above, type of shit, but it just kept going up and up and up and up. Whereas the wages stayed down, adjusted for inflation, right? There's just no argument, right? And every time I argue with somebody who's, because my friend John, he's 55, he's going on 60. Now John does get a bit more into data. So it's so like I kind of have to like calm him down to get to the point of like getting off of his mental history of time and seeing what the reality of time is like, right? And explain scenarios kind of thing from like I could get him down off of it. Um, but yeah, the realities of life are fucking wild, dude. And again, I think most people just don't want to think about it because it's scary. It's scary to come to the realization that nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's just trying one day at a time. Luckily, we have the trust in currency, right? Luckily, we have the trust in dollars or Czech crowns or whatever the fuck. Luckily, we have that, but nobody knows what they're doing, right? Everything's just kind of just moving, and everybody's just trying to get back to a drink or a bed or a woman or a man or a dog or a kid. Everybody on earth's just trying to get back home to that. But yeah, these are just areas that nobody either wants to talk about or people are just too afraid to talk about because it's going to open up because it's going to open up too much thought. And see, thought is a scary thing, even for somebody like Thomas Sowell, which is clear. thought can be very scary. This is in 2012 per capita in Ohio. Every Ohioan per okay, so in 2012, every Ohioan was paying off a debt of $7,000. This is in 2012, and it's only gone up. So in Texas, it was $10,000. California, it was 11,000. So I'll tell you another great website. I bookmarked it. I think here it is, right here. So you can look up the population. Let's use Ohio because that's where I'm from. So you can do. Wait, let me make sure I did this right. Yeah, Ohio facts. Can you guys read that? It's kind of small. Well, that's what she said. We'll make it bigger. That's what she said. So the total population 11 million. And you could look up, based off race, blah, blah. It's 80% white, 13% African American. Asian is 3%. I thought it was higher than that. Military veterans, there's 664,000 military veterans from 2008. Oh, shit, why did I just click? I just fucked it up. Here it is. So in the state of Ohio, because I was comparing Ohio to California a while back. So median gross rent. So the most people are paying around $945 for rent. You can look at education. So bachelor's. So 30% of people in Ohio have a bachelor's degree or higher. Yeah, so you can look up. So this site's called census.gov, and you can even compare, like, well, you can if you know. So I was comparing California to Ohio with this. So California has, if I remember correctly, has a little more. I'm still in Ohio. Hang on. This is why I couldn't figure out how to work with this, because it like saves what you're looking at. Okay, let's try this. California. California. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, 38 million. 38 million are in California. That 334 is the whole United States. So you can go down and see, like, yeah, you could just like look at, education level. So there's more people. There's more educated people in California than Ohio. About 5% more. Yeah. This is. Yeah. These are great things to just, if you just have spare time to look at, I would highly recommend it. So you can just kind of get so the bad area where things like this happen. So for example, when COVID happened, right? Since America is really great at relatively speaking to the rest of the world, America is great at recording data. Well, the issue that happened during COVID is during COVID, North America was by far one of the best countries who legitimately forced people to test and measure, so we can have data for COVID testing, right? Where many other places, I would say, if not most other places on Earth, just didn't take it serious at all, right? So since nobody else on Earth took it serious, on top of that, America was trying to get, American hospitals were trying to get money, blah blah blah, for higher COVID rates to try to get grants for hospitals. What happened was America had horrifically high rates of COVID at the time, right? And this was what made the American passport pretty much worthless. Let me see if I can find an article on it. The American, I remember. I think this is the article I remember reading. American passports they were worthless because North America was pretty much the only country that was like that either just thoroughly tested or even giving more higher numbers trying to get grants from American hospitals for it. So yeah, when it came to travel, because I was stuck in Ukraine, right, as an American, and my passport was worthless unless I can prove I was in Czech Republic and I wasn't living in North America at the time. But yeah, this was real shit because I was there. Like I was in that shit, dude. Like this is no lie. Because I remember when I tried to get to Ukraine, they almost didn't let me go through, and I had to flip the page in my passport to say no, I just left Czech Republic, and the girl almost didn't let me go through. But these are like little areas like this, especially North Americans just didn't have an idea about. They really didn't know. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I can go anywhere with my German passport, but almost no one wants to let in Americans these days. Yeah, it was horrible. What saved me was I was in Czech Republic. That's what because Czechs they didn't, nobody else really checked. America was the only one who was like thoroughly checking, and if anything, they were boosting numbers again to try to get money. Whereas Europe didn't care at all. Every Czech person I knew got some Czech doctor outside of Prague to just cite it and say they were immunized. They didn't care. It was like literally every. I did not know one Czech. I didn't know one Czech person who got the shots. I don't know one. I didn't know one who actually got this. Everybody I knew, either if they were in Prague, they left Prague because Prague is going to be monitored before anybody else. So they just left Prague, went to some little doctor that they family knew or some shit like that, and had them just write it up, say, yeah, we gave them the shot or whatever, and then you were good to go. Um, from what I understand, the rest of the world just really didn't care. It really wasn't that big of a thing. But this was because I was in Ukraine. That was real shit, man. That was definitely real shit. So some Americans include some new people who I know got passports, don't really care. They just want to get out. Oh wait, I'm probably missing. I like what thought. I always say it wrong. Thoughts. Thought. I pronounce it the proper way. Thoughts have been their legs, but not necessarily the person. People in China from the lack of cell phone usage. Okay, yeah. Because it's crazy. Like when COVID first started, I remember seeing like videos from China when COVID had started over there, and I thought it would never make it here. And they would show like videos of people in like hospitals like passing out and shit like that. And I'll be honest with you, I remember seeing it, and I remember on Facebook or something, and because they had like videos of people in hospitals like fucked up and wearing masks and all this shit like that. And I thought, yeah, that'd never make it here. And then slowly, I remember slowly, I'll be walking in like, somewhere downtown. And then all of a sudden somebody would just fall out, right? And it'd be ambulances coming up the street. And like nobody knew like what it really was. Like you just weren't, like, nobody was scared at all or anything, right? And then when it became clear, like, okay, it was COVID, then like we went on lockdown here about 2 weeks before North America did, because I remember I was talking to my dad. I said, yeah, we have to wear masks. We didn't have to wear masks at that time. At that time, you could wear a scarf around your mouth and be okay. But I told my dad, like, yeah, this is the law out here. Like you have to wear something covering your face. And my dad was like, yeah, that's never going to happen in North America. Right? And about 2 or 3 weeks later, it happened in North America. They start putting them on lockdown and curfews and all that shit like that. See, I remember I wrapped this scarf because you felt you're gonna, because at this time you weren't used to it, so like you felt like you were gonna like rob the place if you walked into like like a gas station or something with a scarf wrapped around your face. Like it was just really awkward times. My girl, she got COVID. I never got it. She got it. She got the COVID where she lost all sense of taste. Because I remember, because I was in North America at the time, or I was somewhere at the time. I can't remember where I was, but I think I was in North America because I remember getting off the plane in North America and nobody really cared about masks at all there. And I remember I was video chatting with her, and I remember she got it, and she stayed here when I was in North America, and she couldn't taste anything. And she got real mad one time, and she ordered some KFC to be delivered here, and and she said she was so mad because she couldn't taste the KFC. But I never got it to the point. If I did get it, I never got the version where you couldn't taste anything. I got real sick a couple times, but I never lost a sense of smell or taste or anything. Did you ever watch Contagion? No, no, never watched it. I don't watch many movies with Matt Damon, not because I don't like Matt. I think Matt Damon's a great actor, But I just don't tend to watch movies with him in it, just out of sheer luck. Not it's not intentional. I think he's a great actor. I loved him in Interstellar. I feel like he's like a what's his name, Jason Sudeikis on SNL. I feel like he's one of those guys. Like you have to like Matt Damon kind of thing. Like you can't not like the motherfucker, right? Like so he can just pretty much do any movie he wants to do, and people just like take him immediately, kind of thing. Like he doesn't even have to read for a role or anything. Just he's Matt Damon. Come on. Like a Justin Sudeikis, is that how you pronounce his name on SNL? He used to do SNL a while back. I don't know what he's doing now, but he was one of them type of guys. Like, don't need him to try out for anything. He's just him. Let him just come be him. Yeah. And guess who's the largest group of applicants? U.S. black men. I think you said 80 that passports was an issue until we started traveling. Passports was an issue until we started traveling a while back. I'm off. I'm fucked up. So some Americans include some new people. I'm fucking off, man. I'm trying to catch up. America. America's reaction to passport bros limit travel. Well, here's the thing. I think there's a few things that's stopping Americans from traveling. One is that plane flight to go anywhere. Unless you're gonna go to like Dominican Republic or something. Okay, I've never been in Dominican Republic, but if I had to guess, um, Dominican Republic is I wouldn't choose that as a top destination. And the reason why I say that is because that's the closest place from North America. So if anything, North American culture will bleed more into theirs instead of the other way around, right? So now I don't know because I've never been, but just due to sheer logistics, I wouldn't fuck with any of that. Um, so what keeps Americans from traveling to like South America or like Europe or anywhere else is that long ass plane flight over water. Um, the cost because it's gonna be 1,200 usually on the low end. 12 to 1,500 on the low end. That the price of the flight. And then the habit of Americans, we think when we travel somewhere, we got to pay this exorbitant fee for a hotel. Which, now to be fair, I think Czech Republic did go up in their hotel rates because they used to be a lot cheaper when I first came here, and now they're like, it's just so expensive you don't want to go to a hotel at all. But back then it didn't used to be like that. It used to be like maybe like $50 a night, $50 a night for like a nice hotel. Because I had to stay in hotels a few nights because I got too drunk and drove somewhere and had to stay in a hotel. And it'd be a nice hotel too, 60 bucks a night. Now they've gone up to like, but here's the weird part about Czech Republic's hotels is that like they're more expensive when you get out of Prague. Like, and that's the weird part. I would think they'd be more expensive in Prague, but they're actually more expensive when you leave outside of Prague. But like I always say, like the hard part for Americans is just leaving. Once you can get out somewhere and just get to the place, well, you do have other hard issues like not being used to English being to getting used to English not being the number one language being spoken. That's a hard part. So I won't try to make everything sound like fucking roses and butterflies. You do have challenges for sure leaving the U.S. Adapting to other cultures and dressing styles and way of life. I remember when I first came over here, I had to go through Germany first, and but it was at night, right? It was like early in the morning, and like the people, like when it came to just being in the airport and just seeing like the restaurants in the airport and how people dressed, like it was just completely different. When you go to North American airports, it's just fucking Burger King, McDonald's, some colorful fast food bullshit. When you come over here, it's like, oh, it's actually like baked bread in the fucking window type shit. You know what I mean? And the first time I seen it, it threw me the fuck off. And I remember it was this guy. Like, I thought he was just a gay dude because his clothes, he was a grown man, his clothes actually fit. So I thought maybe he's just gay. Like, I had a gay uncle. Maybe he's just like my uncle, right? And then the more I kept going, like the women were dressed like they were in a fucking Maroon 5 video type shit. I'm like, what the? Well, hold on, y'all dressed up a little too nice for an airport. And they just were, they just weren't fat bitches. They were just skinny bitches who wore clothes that fit. But as an American, that was a big deal, right? Because American women are pathetic, right? So it was a big deal to me. I remember when I went to the Atlanta airport when I first came back, when I first went back to the US, and I looking at how people were dressing, like it felt like I was in a homeless shelter coming from here, right? Cuz in Europe they care more about how they dress, but in America, like people just wear baggy shit, or if they wear something nice, then it's like they know they're wearing something nice. Like so it's this real awkward situation in North America from my perspective now. Um but yeah, I remember when I first came here, I was in Frankfurt. You always gotta. I always end up coming through Frankfurt and then coming to Prague. And yeah, it's like when you just walk around, like you see people dressed in clothes that actually fit and actually look good, kind of thing. And it's really shocking. It really is that is that for me that was a big cultural shift. I'm just not used to being an American, you're not used to seeing women just waking up and dressing that way, right? Um, but yeah, yeah, because I always bash Europe, but there's some great parts about Europe too. Like there are some great parts. Like here's the thing: the great parts are the social settings. Like right now, like literally right now, if I wanted to, I can go catch a tram and go to the city center and go to some bar and start laughing and talking with somebody I meet in some random bar, right? Like I can go do that like right now, and it's not weird or strange or anything, right? The social setting in Europe is just like amazing. Like it just America. By the time Americans get close to competing with the little things like social settings, like you've got to be like an extremely rich person or something like that, right? And because me and my friend John were talking about it, because John he has a cleaning lady in Arizona. So in America, so here's the difference: if somebody's in watch, if anybody's from Europe or not in America, and for people in America, this is a big branch off. So in Europe, getting a cleaning lady is like $20 a week, $20, something like that, right? And but most people, so here's the thing, like in America, a cleaning person is unheard of for the majority of the population, unless you're like fucking Fresh Prince of Bel Air and you got Jeffrey or some shit like that. For the majority of America, most people will never experience having a cleaning lady, a cleaning or not a cleaning man, right? Anybody who comes over to your flat and cleans some shit. Most people in America will just, for one reason or another, will never experience that. Where in Europe, it's I can go on Facebook right now and just go type, "Hey, I need a cleaning woman for because we have a baby, whatever, or whatever." And by the end of the week, I'll have one. And it's not going to be anything crazy expensive, right? It's just there's no taboo with that, right? But in the U.S., it is. So when it comes to social settings, now some social settings in Europe, I think, come back around to bite Europe in its ass. But with that being said, the immediate social setting, I think, it's wonderful. It's absolutely great here. America just can't compete at all. There was one guy who goes on the street in Miami, Florida, and talks to people on YouTube, and he's talking to these guys, and I feel so sorry for the guys, right? Because it's they're working on their bodies, and they're relatively speaking good looking dudes and all that shit like that, and they're dressed up in tight shit and blah, 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 and they got the hair that's like perfectly cut and all this, you know, and they're these fucking like they almost look like an AI drawing. They look so perfect, right? And when the guy opens his mouth, he still feels insecure. Because I don't know who it is who I watch who does it. Let me see if I can find him. Um, Guy interviews. And it's so shocking coming from over here. Yeah, it's like a dude like this, but I don't know. Like with these guys feeling like they have to live up to this, like it's really disgusting the state that men are in. It was in reels. How do I find reels? I don't even know how to find shorts. Is that it? Shorts. Like when you hear these people just talking, or you just see what Americans are dealing with, and this whole pressure to like be this something, I don't know, something else, it's just it's disgusting, right? And I was telling my girl, I said, because she spoke to John. Her and John, we all spoke on the phone together. They were comparing beef jerky. Long story, but but anyway, like they were talking, right? And fuck, I lost my train of thought because I was trying to keep up with like three things at the same time to keep the show going, but I forgot. Oh, I remember what it was. Retirement. Because John's 55. He's always worked great jobs since I've known him. So he has a nice bit saved up. But Americans are under this weird. It's this weird. I don't know, like hive mind that they have to have $1 million before they can have any sense of comfort in life. I remember there was a Steve Harvey video I watched maybe 2 years ago where it was this young black dude, and Steve Harvey was talking to him on his show, and the guy was saying, "Yeah, I gotta have 1 million before I can retire and all this." And I'm thinking to myself, dude, I've just fucked the woman of your dreams for $60. Where is this? Like, where is this American thing that you have to have $1 million to chase some image in your head that you because when John was talking, he told me how much he has saved up in his 401k and all this shit. And he doesn't think he has enough to retire in the Philippines. I'm like, dude, you have more than enough to retire in the Philippines. You have more than enough to retire in Czech Republic, right? Like, you don't need $1 million to do this. You don't. This is an American. This is an American, maybe a British. I don't know the UK very well like that, but I would assume it's the same there. It's this weird assumption that like it's all this. I have to make this certain number before I can be kind of thing. And you don't need that shit, dude. I told my VA counselor the one of the few times where we actually got along in a phone call, because usually I'm like yelling at her and shit like that because she's fucking stupid, right? But the one time we actually like I didn't yell at her, and I gave her a genuine heart-filled conversation. She told me, she says, "Wendell, I'm gonna have to work till I die." And I said, "No, you don't. You're stuck in North America with that mentality. In North America, you're stuck in that mentality that you'll have to work before you die. You don't need. You can okay. What you do is you take out a retirement, some type of retirement fund. You start any type of side. You can just tutor on the weekends English that you already know how to speak." To supplement, I'd say at least a third of living costs in a country, right? You can do it. Like, you don't need $1 million. You don't like this is that $1 million shit. You're too caught up on trying to live life above Mount Olympus. You on Mount Olympus now, right? And see this silly shit. What is this? Jeff Bezos with his wife. I mean, yeah, he's Jeff Bezos, so he gonna be. I mean, he gonna do whatever he want. Let me turn down the audio. I can turn it down here because you guys still hear me if I turn down the audio. So Jeff Bezos, he's Jeff Bezos, right? So I mean, do whatever you want to do, right? Do whatever you want to do. But see, now the sick part about this is there's gonna be some fucking retard on fucking Instagram trying to say, well, guess what? Now you should dress like Jeff Bezos and all this shit like that. No, Jay, he living his own life, man. Like, let him go. But motherfuckers get to looking at bitches like this, right?
How much do you pay for rent in Miami? Well, I do these house tours on TikTok and Instagram.
Hi.
Oh, this is cool. You have your washer and dryer. What's behind this door? This is not messy at all. No, you have one here and one here. Oh, so you just moved from New York a week ago?
Yeah.
And what's in here? Is this the bathroom?
Have a really nice bathtub.
Did you just move from New York City to Miami? Which apartment's better?
This one. Because I had roommates.
Okay.
It's really lucky because I have a view of the sunset and the sunrise.
This is actually a really big balcony.
It's so funny though, because the pillows are just...
I just throw it off the edge.
Nope.
One of two pools.
Yeah.
Can we go swimming?
Because motherfuckers motherfuckers in America get to looking at bitches like that, and then here in New York and Miami, right? And she paying $3,000 a month for rent, so now you gotta start feeling, what's my life and all this shit. And then you look at bitches here, and fucking, oh wait, let me go to homepage. Well, yeah, see, these are the bitches down in Show Park, and these bitches, hope I don't get them nudity on here, don't get taken down. But these bitches are fucking for $60, dude, and these bitches ain't paying $3,000 for rent. All right, and these bitches speaking 3 and 4 different languages. Well, some of them a little rough, because this is their whole lineup, so they got some rough ones in here. I ain't gonna lie, but these bitches in here fucking for $60. It don't take $3,000 a month, and now you out there working, fucking, you out there slitting your wrist trying to make it through fucking grad school so you can earn money to fuck this hoe, when these hoes all up in here for $60 to fuck them. It's sick. It's sad and it's sick, right? It's disgusting. And see, the
How
thing
much do you
is,
pay for?
and see, the thing is, this specific woman knows that there's a man who's gonna hear $3,000 a month and be like, oh, I better come in and drop 10 grand on a bitch. You know what I mean? She knows it because American men are beaten down. They're fucking pathetic because they've been beaten down. Right? She knows that. She knows this. This specific woman individually knows this. Right? She knows that men are fucking pathetic. They're sad. They're fucking, and they're desperate. So silly shit. Listen to these bitches talk. And they go, well, I gotta have a man who earn at least 6 figures and all this shit. These dingbat bitches are out there fucking mine. Let me do let's do let's see what I'm gonna do. Let's do this one. Fuck it.
All right, so what's your name?
Janice.
How much money should a guy make per year?
At least like 300,000.
300,000?
Yeah. If I'm making 100 grand, you should be making at least twice that.
How do you make that money?
I sell my underwear.
You do what?
Sell my underwear on Sophia Gray.
And you make that much money?
Yeah, there's people who make more than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's insane. 300,000 for a guy to make a year?
I mean, at least, all right, I'll say maybe 200,000, but.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your name?
And then you know what? Guys watch this and be like, oh my God, I gotta fucking do this. Oh, I gotta do this now. You mean? And this shit's right here. This shit's right here. And this shit's literally right here. It's the culture here. Not the culture to be a prostitute like this, but you see what I'm trying to say. And then you got dingbat idiots like this because she's living in a place where men just lost all sense of self-esteem. And she's talking, a motherfucker got to make $300K a year because she's so fucking great. It's sad, man. It's sad. This shit is disgusting. It's sad.
How much do you pay rent in Miami?
In rent, right now, I would say it's like $3,000 a month.
How much do you pay rent in Miami?
You see, and you dumb as fuck for paying that. That's not intelligent. I try to lower the number so I sound more smart.
How much money does your boyfriend make?
Almost 50?
50 grand?
Yeah, almost 50 grand.
And how do you?
That's
How does that make you feel? That he makes that much?
Good. I mean, he's not like struggling or anything. Like we're living a pretty good life.
You don't care if a man makes that much?
No, like it's 50-50.
Would you care if you got like a raise and he makes 100?
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
How would that make you feel?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
really?
That's
yeah.
Like you say you don't care.
I don't care, but like I support him, and we're a partner. We're a team.
I like her.
How much you making a year?
I make probably either that or a little bit more than him.
That's
I'm a last check.
How does that feel? How does that make you feel if you make more money than your boyfriend?
I mean, I'm the moneymaker, but that doesn't mean he ain't helping me out.
Well, also look at her waist. But even looking at her waist in the state that North America's in, she's reasonable, right? I'd rather deal with her than deal with the one before. But look at her waist. I think that kind of explains why she's happy with in that climate.
So you're the breadwinner?
I'm the breadwinner, bro. It's 50-50.
Like what? Everything?
He pays for more things sometimes.
Okay. How much money does your boyfriend make?
But she's reasonable. I'll give her that. She's reasonable.
How much money should a man make for you?
Honestly, if he paid the rent, I'd take care of the home. You get me?
Okay, so it's like half and half, equal.
I'm gonna be really honest with you.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna tell you some bullshit about, oh no, men don't have to make nothing. That men have to provide, and women better like bring their men peace and create a household for their men.
Why do these girls hate Andrew Tate?
Because just want to front and act like feminism is the shit. It's not. No, all that. Like honestly, just want equality until it comes down to the real shit. Men protect, women ain't gonna protect. It's like that.
How much money should?
Yeah, I find her admirable for owning it. I'm gonna go because I gotta make a phone call in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna end it off here, man. But yeah, I think she's admirable for accepting it. So I'm not mad at her. Not mad at her. I don't have anything negative to say. She owns it. She owns her position as a woman. She owns her reality. Not mad at her. I buy her a beer just to hang out with her. You know what I mean? Just to hang out. I wouldn't be mad about it. At least the chubby chick doesn't have an inflated... Yeah. We're basically in a social... Happy New Year's, Jen. We're basically in a social setting in the States where relationships are transactional. It's basically direct prostitution, but without the negative connotation. Honestly, I think it's worse. It's gotten to the point where it's worse in America, man, because the women have just gotten far too demanding. Okay, like when you go here, like they not gonna be on that. See, like if you only grown up in America, you used to women being like a certain way, right? Pretty much like this man, like talking like this and all that. See, when you go in here, they not gonna be talking like that. All that shit, like because they can't survive over here like that. Because see, the culture over here is they're used to these women are used to having to survive and compete with other women that look like this, right? So I mean, you will have a snob here and there, but they can't. These women can't get away with talking like this. They just can't get away with it. Like they'll just be left alone. Like if a motherfucker feels that she's gonna be like that, any decent man over here is just gonna ignore her. Right, they're gonna know what she is. So the women over here are not gonna. They can't get away with that. Right, and Czech Republic's not a poor country. It's not a poor country. It's not a rich country, but it's not a poor country either. Right. So because I know if a woman were to see this, they'll say, "Oh, well, those women, they're just trying to get out of poverty and being human trafficked." No, bro, no. Stop watching them YouTube documentaries trying to hate on prostitution. No, these women they ain't got nothing to do with all that. But yeah. I never envy the super rich. They all seem to be lost in their own self-created hell. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's always a problem. Like it's always a problem in life. It's if it's not. Here's the thing. If it's not money, then it's not having a family. If it's not having a family, then it's not measuring up to your younger or older brother. If it's not, it's always something, dude. It's and here's the thing. What I find a lot of people end up a lot of people become imprisoned by like buying their own houses and shit like that. That's one thing I'm noticing a lot more nowadays is that there's so many people struggling in one way or another when they buy a house. And I'm not trying to like shame people for buying houses because I would love to buy like this flat, but there's consequences to it, right? When you do it now, that thing is tied to you, right? You have to you have this, whether it's paid off or not, you have this direct not loyalty, what I'm looking for, this duty for it, right? And there's consequences to every move you make. But yeah, everybody is suffering with something that they just can't get. Everybody's suffering on something. So I totally agree, Jen, for sure. Totally agree. I'm hella late. Oh man, I'm just rambling, not really saying a whole lot of anything. Yo, AD, out here, women are going to give you attention if you look good. If you are not perfect, they look at you in disgust. Yeah, well, yeah, out there in I would, yeah, that sounds right from my time, my small time in California. That, yeah. But here's the thing, like I said with my buddy John, man, like there's so many places on earth. Okay, with John's always worked great jobs. He's after he got his bachelor's degree, he took off. And he always, and I think he had good jobs before that too. But I didn't know him much before that. I don't know a lot about his life before that, but John's always been a hard worker. He's always one of those types of dudes, man. And but the only area that I feel bad for him is I don't think he fully realizes what he can do in the world. Oh, there's my alarm. Here's my alarm. So yeah, I don't think he really realizes what he can do in the world. Right? Because the world can be scary, and maybe some people just don't like to admit it, but the world, it can be a scary place, especially if you only lived in one country the majority of your life. It could be scary for sure. But there's so many different options. For every hot girl you see walking down the street, dude, there's like literally her twin is in another country who isn't on any of that shit for one reason or another. Right. And it's not because you're going to pick out a poor woman or anything like that. See, American women always want to place it on men trying to pick up poor women kind of thing. And that's not okay. Well, yeah, because women are just angry because you just have another option, first off. And two, when many other countries, if you apply spending power to their country, a lot of people aren't poor in that country. Right. And there's so many different ways you can go about it, man. But even with that being said, like you have options. Like here's the thing: most of Americans are not aware of the options that they have. No shit. Most Americans are just not aware of the options that they have and the power that they have of being the foreigner, of being the American. Now again, what I said earlier, I probably would not fuck with Dominican Republic just because sheer logistics and history. I think that Dominican Republic is probably just overrun with it to the point where like the women down there will slowly start asking American prices for shit, like the prettier ones. Now I think some probably won't, but I'm sure there's a population of them who will because they know they can get away with it. So Dominican Republic's gonna be fucking. If it's not ruined now, it won't be long before it's ruined. Because just some sheer logistics. Men figure out. Let's look up a plane ticket. From how much would a plane ticket cost? Flights from, let's say, I don't know, let's say Ohio to how you spell it? How you spell Dominican? I don't know how you spell it. Dominican I don't know how you spell this shit. So from Ohio, it's a $200 plane flight from Cleveland. That's the highest, one of the highest points there, and it's so from that quick right now it's a $200 plane flight from Ohio, right? Which is not like like Miami. It's like further up. So you talk about $250 plane flight to Dominican Republic. So with that being said, right there, like my logic would tell me that it's probably going to be like you're going to meet women who've already learned the Westerner game, and now they asking Westerner prices for shit, or just Westerner requirements that these dingbat bitches over here would say, right? So I could be wrong, maybe not, maybe not. But I would just assume I wouldn't touch Dominican Republic just because of that logistics and history of the two countries. I wouldn't touch it unless somebody like invited me to go. Then I would go, but I would not go on my own to Dominican Republic. I put Dominican Republic in the same boat as Vegas. Like I would never go back to Vegas unless somebody paid me to go. You know, that type of thing. I just don't have any use for Vegas anymore. But yeah, I gotta go. It's 8:56. I gotta make a phone call. You're right about you're okay if you go outside the tourist spot, but if you go to speak solid Spanish, okay, it's getting bad. It's not overrun yet. It was there back in the spring. Word up. Okay, word up. Yeah. It's already like that in Dominican Republic. I'm from next door. I used to be cheap, but not now. Yeah, yeah. Chris Apple. Yeah, that Westerner shit is gonna bleed in, man. And the Westerner, because whoever has more money, people are just gonna try to adopt those standards. So especially women, because women want more money. So yeah, like there was just no real hope for Dominican Republic to like hold on to it, kind of thing. Because we factor in the unitedness of the U.S. and it being a U.S. territory, like all that, none of that sounds good to me. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody else knows something I don't know, but just the logistics of it, I would immediately just write it off as a waste of time. The same way women would write off a man for a waste of time for working at Walmart, right? So yeah, I gotta go. I gotta make an important phone call. So I catch y'all later, man. Yo, thanks for everybody who tuned in, like, subscribe, commented. I catch y'all on the flippy flip, man. Peace out.